is a list, it's my top 10. These are the board games that I will play again and again. I got dust on my shelf, my name is not Ralph. Sometimes I play a character and it's an elf. Singing Barry's top 10 board games. Come on, sing it now. Barry's top 10 board games. That wasn't simple. Hello chaps and chapettes again, this is the final countdown. Yeah, this is my top 10 games that I love playing of all time. This top 10 has been made up of everything that I've played bucket loads of times and will play bucket loads more times as well. These are not games that I've had one hit wonders with, or games that I've played once only and thought, wow, that's an amazing game. These are games that I have played shed loads of times. And these are games which are not Kickstarters or not been released. No, these are not games that have been, these are games that have been released. They're not games that I've played pre-production and gone, wow, this game is excellent, because Seventh Continent is excellent. These are just great games. I hope you enjoy them all. These are the games which average people like me should be playing, and these are the top 10 games which everybody should have in their collection. Well, nearly all of them anyway. So I'll take it away. Number 10. My number 10 is a game which, again, is just one of those games that doesn't matter how many times you play it, it never gets boring. And thankfully there is a bucket load of expansions that you can add to this game to give it some longevity. One of my favourite expansions is called the Zombie Meeple. Well, actually this is the game that introduced the word meeples. It is Carcassonne. This game, as you can see, is a bit worn around the edges, but in this box I have 3 expansions. I have these extra meeples which I've bought, which are really cute, and they pimp the game up a little bit. You know, it's nice being monsters or zombies or ninjas or spacemen or cowboys or Father Christmas even. Yeah, this game just goes down really well because it's simple. You can teach the base game to newbies because it is just placing tiles out in the right place. The farmer rule is always a very hard rule to explain, and you have to gauge the level of your players to either include it or exclude it. And as I said, the expansions are just wonderful. I love all the expansions I've got. I like the dragon and the fairy. I like going around and eating other people's meeple, and there's that strategic play of, you know, which position are you going to move the dragon when it's your turn to move the dragon? Do you block yourself with the fairy? Wonderful things. And then there's the merchants, and there's the other rule where you finish off other people's cities, you get the points for it, which is great. I love it. This game, people go, oh, Carcassonne, yeah, but it's still a very good game, and the fact that there are so many different versions and so many different expansions is a good sign of a good game. That is my number 10. My number 9 again goes back to worker placement. This worker placement game is a really fun worker placement and very gigglesome worker placement game. It's a game where you are responsible for a bunch of imps, and you're telling these imps to go to the market and buy food and buy cages and then buy pets and look after those pets. I gave it away, didn't I? Dungeon Pets is my number 9 board game. Yes, this is a bit heavier for some people, but if I can get my 8-year-old daughter to understand how to play this game and how each thing links to the other, You know, if you don't feed the animal, this is going to happen. Or if you don't build a cage strong enough for your fierce animals, this is going to happen. If I can't teach it to an 8-year-old, then what's it say? What's it say? It says older than 8 years old. I think it's 10 or 12. 13. Ooh, maybe I'm exposing my daughter to some really nasty kind of... he's eating flesh there, I think, that monster. But this game is just a great worker placement with a great theme. Everything is dripping in this game. The eggs are great, where you have little eggs, and you have... there's so many little wonderful components all squeezed into a very big box. There's poo. The little brown cubes of poo. There's money. There's these little imps, which are real plastic little imps. You have all these tiles which have this wonderful artwork on them, which basically kind of really tell you what everything is. Everything on the board tells you what it is. Let's have a look at an imp. Let's make a mess of my room. I've just hoovered today. It's an imp. It's a little imp. I'd like to pimp this game up. I've seen that there is a pimped up version of the cubes. So you can actually have poo-looking cubes, and you can have food-looking food, and sadness-looking sadness. Maybe emoticons or something like that. But this game is just great. Everything is just fantastic about it. I've got the expansion, but I haven't been able to get to play the expansion because the only person that play this game with me at the moment is my daughter. Again, I've got some friends, but we've never managed to get to the table because there's always another game which is like, oh yeah, but I keep pushing to play Dungeon Pets because it's adorable and it's better than Dungeon Lords, seriously. So, Vlada, you're making some really fantastic games. Keep up the good work. My number 9, Dungeon Doo-Doo. Pets. My number 8 is a totally underrated, I almost said overrated, is a totally underrated game. And again, I'm just starting to think that a lot of my games involve islands, like in Tobago. This is such a fantastic game, and it's a beautiful looking game, and it's a simple playing little game where you are treasure hunting. And when you're treasure hunting, you're actually laying down a clue. You're either playing a card which says, oh, the treasure is one space away from a tree, but the island has several trees on it. And so you're like trying to figure out where the treasure is going to be. Then someone else will play another clue which is saying, okay, it's 2 spaces away from a beach. So if you've got a tree which is there and you just put 2 and 2 together and you eliminate the spaces on this game. This game is just, I really enjoy this. If you've put clues towards the treasure, you have a part of, you have a share, a percentage of that treasure. So the more clues you put towards a treasure, the more treasure you're going to get. And then there's this whole gambling risk system when you have the treasure, because you know what some of the treasure which is in the box, but you don't know all the treasure which is in the box. There might be a curse as well. This game is totally underrated. It's beautifully produced. I would recommend anyone who likes deduction games and fun kind of light family games. This is perfect. This is an amazing game, and I don't know why it's not on a lot of other people's lists, because it just hits a mark of Cluedo, but logic deduction of Cluedo. Yeah, I said that, no. But anywho, Tobago is my number 8 game. Now my number 7 is an amazing game. Yeah, it's even more amazing than Tobago. But this one is very popular, and I can understand why it's popular, because it involves chips, and everybody loves chips. But it doesn't have fish. There's no fish. But there is gems, and there is mines, and there is splendour in this one super box. This game doesn't have any expansions, and this game is the same thing over and over again. You're picking gems up and buying mines to try and get the 15 points to win the game. It's a race to get those 15 points. And this game is so quick playing, easy to teach. And that's why it hits the table so much. And that is why I love it, because it gives us this real challenge. I have a group of friends and we really dig our teeth into this game. We are fighting tooth and nail to find the best strategy to get to those 15 points. My wife included. She's starting to figure out a good system to try and beat me, and she does it pretty well. But I am still the splendid champion in this house. It's probably the only game in my collection that I can win more often than not against the wife. Splendor. An amazing game. I wish I could say a big naughty word there, but it is an amazing, simple game with no theme. Number 7, Splendor! My number 6 is the Granddaddy, the thing which got American ears prickling. It involves. I'm trying to think of a good clue. I'm not going to say. I was going to say 504, but I'm not going to say 504. I'm just going to say Catan is my number 6 favourite game in the gaming world, because it is, again, another simple game. It looks beautiful, especially this philosopher version, right? It's not the wooden cubey buildings, and it's not the wooden sticky roads. It's the nice plastic figures, which, you know, should be in every single version. He says, digging up. Yes, I've got a 6-player version in this box, but as you can see, they got these lovely little colonies, and then you can upgrade to these big cities. I mean, this looks so much better than those bloody wooden things that they have. But this is the version to have, this fantastic version. And again, it is the same thing over and over again. You're on an island, you're trying to get resources, and then trying to build colonies and villages and roads, and get those 10 points as quick as possible. But at the same time, it is just fun. I mean, yes, there is the luck of the dice, which is a tad annoying, but you can mitigate that by having a rule thrown in from another expansion, or by the expansion yourself. The barbarian, no, it's not the barbarians, set colonies. Well, there's an expansion anyway, which adds, and you don't even need it, you just need some chips lying around or some tokens that you could use. Every time that you don't get a resource, you take a token, and then on your turn you can trade 2 of these tokens for a resource of your choice. It speeds up the game, and it makes it less kind of fluky and random for someone to win. Catan is wonderful to play. I've got Seafarers as well. We've played it a couple of times with the Seafarers, but the base game is just fun in its own. Seafarers does add a lot more as you trying to get you start picking different strategies, because it's going roads and going everywhere. But this game, it's a shame it's not 2-player version. I've got 2-player version. It feels the same, but it's not the same, if you know what I mean. You need the map, and you need people, you need the players as well to play this. Fantastic game. That's why it's so high. You probably hate me now because I like Catan and Carcassonne, and they're in my top 10. But I don't care! They're great games! Go and buy them! Go and play them! Even better! Don't have to buy them, find someone and play them! They're great games. That one. My number 5 is a party game. It's not a party, it is a party game. You need to play it with a group of people to get the full Battlestar Galactica feel out of it. Yeah, this is what I would call Battlestar Galactica light. Extremely light. The Resistance. Yes! The Resistance. The game where spies are trying to sabotage missions. How Battlestar Galactica does it feel? The Cylons are hidden. There's no kind of character changing into a Cylon halfway through the game. There's no kind of real forced theme, but you can just say this is Battlestar Galactica. We're on the Battlestar Galactica. We're going to send an away mission to go and find this planet, or we're going to look for the stars or clues to get to Caprica or Earth even. But whatever. This game is just such a riot with a big group of people where you're all looking at each other trying to deduct who is the méchant, French word, I'm teaching you some French. Méchant is bad person. Trying to find out who the traitors are and try to stop them going on missions so you can successfully do missions. It plays relatively quickly, but you know, it depends on the intensity of your group, how long the game goes on. And there have been nights where we've played this, and after a good half hour, 45 minutes of playing it, we play it again. And then we play it again. We've had a whole night of playing Resistance. And every time it was a laugh, and every time it's like, am I a traitor? I have to check my card. I'm not a traitor. But why did I say that? Maybe I was thinking I was the traitor. Oh dear, everyone's going to pick on me. It's just a great social deduction game where you're pointing fingers at other players and calling them every name under the sun, including méchant and bâtard. Probably can't use that in the video, but I'm going to, because that's me. My number 5, Resistance, is futile. My number 4, yeah, my number 4 takes me back to where I used to live in Southampton, where I used to live right next to the forest, and there were lots of countryside, and there were lots of animals and trees and things like that. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Luke. Yeah, you know those kind of guys. This is a worker placement guide that I like, and I'm sounding like the Wurzels. Now we got a brand new combine harvester, and I'll give you the key. Bum, bum, bum. Agricola is my number 4. Why is Agricola on here and not Caverna? I haven't played at Caverna, and 2, I don't care about how many people don't like the feeding the people thing. It's part of simulation of being responsible for people. And that's what I used to like about games like Theme Park and Hospital Park. Is that Hospital Park? Theme Hospital. And other sim games like that. It's not just a case of putting the things in the right place at the right time. It's a case of keeping your people happy and making sure that they're content doing the jobs that they're doing. And that's what that does to this game. You know, feeding your people is essential. You saw through this ear and out the other ear when I did that, didn't you? And this game is just amazing. Again, there is that thing of, you know, each round the same things are going to happen. Oh, this round we'll be able to build fences. But there is, the more people you got playing, the more strategy there is and the more things you can do. And here we go, another advert for Rob Searing about one of his wonderful inserts. As you can see, a carrot is the only thing that's displaced. Maybe the cows are hungry there and they want to eat a carrot. Yeah, get your game pimped up, because there's nothing worse than looking at a disc which is yellow and you're trying to decide whether it's straw or if it's wheat. Yeah, so Agricola, a great farming worker placement game, really tight, really hard, because you have to do a bit of everything. You have to have X amount of sheep, cows and pigs to get good points. You have to have your house upgraded to a certain level to get points. You can buy things. You can buy an amendment, a savoir-faire, French version, and then keeping the food and resources going. It is a lovely brain burner, and it's nothing better than looking at someone else's little piece of land and laughing and thinking, oh my god, you've only got 2 sheep. No, that's nasty, but Agricola is a fantastic game. Maybe you want Caverna because it's not so cruel, but for me, I like the coolness and that hardness of that time and error of making sure that my people are fed and making sure that I'm not populating too quickly, because I can't provide the resources to supply a family of 5. You know, if it means keeping it a family of 3, keep it a family of 3. Agricola. Get back in there, you chicken leg and you straw. My number... Har! Sounds like a pirate again, doesn't it? Har! Your country. Maybe pirates were all farmers and they got disgruntled. Maybe, and they went to sea. Ha ha. Oh, my farmer. Now I got a brand new combine harvester and it went out to sea. Ha 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 ha. My number 3 is probably the only game, I think it's the only game that I've given a 10 out of 10 for on Board Game Geek. So why is it not my number 1? Well, because I love the game a lot, but it doesn't mean it's a game that I want to play every single time. And there are 2 games that I'd rather play than this game, and this is 10 out of 10, and then the others are not 10 out of 10, but they are... I'll get to them. Again, going back to the theme of islands. Yes, I like a lot of games with islands. I've got some more here. I've got Isla Dora, which I've played once, and I really like it, but I couldn't put it on this list because I've played it once, and I can't really judge a game by playing it once. But, yeah, there's that one. That's got an island in it as well. But, Catan's an island, But anywho, The Island is my number 3 game that I love to play. It's because it is that childhood board game that you wish that you played when you were a child. It is fun, it is a puzzle, it is nasty, stab your friends in the back Munchkin style. You know, you help them along in your boat and then you capsize the boat with a whale just after you've jumped off, and then a shark comes along and eats your people, eats their people, not yours. This game is fantastic fun. It's even better when you add in the expansion. So if you have the 6-player expansion, it's cool as well. If you add in the dolphins, it makes it a tad blurry, but it gives a different feel, a different strategy to the game. And then there's the octopuses, or calamari, or whatever you want to call them, which can pull people off of land and pull people off of boats. Oh, this game is just... I find this game a riot, and you can be friends with someone and nasty to the next, and then friends with them again as you're trying to get all your research team off the island safely to the sidelands. It's beautiful. There's nothing I can flaw this game for. Even the rules are perfect, and they're in French. But anywho, The Island. Oh, sorry, it's actually called Survive, Escape from Atlantis. Sorry, in French it's called The Island, which is an English word. Because they don't call it The Island, they call it Les Îles. Now, my number 2 is a game which unfortunately you can't really get anymore. This is, for me, the pinnacle of board game greatness, and it's a shame that it hasn't been snatched up and used for something like, I hate to say this because I'm so peed off with the franchise of Star Wars. But this game is a fantastic combat game, which is no longer available and has so much infinite playdom. Playdom, is that a word? There you go, I'm going to cornerize that one. And I don't even have it in boxes anymore because there is just too much. Now I found it easier to store it all in these boxes, and it gave me a bit of space here so I can put other games on here. And the only box that I've got left is this one where I keep all my figurines in. Heroescape is my number 2 game. Why is it my number 2 game? Because it is just great fun. It is a combat game which you can turn into whatever you want, and with the more expansions that you have, the more players you can have. So you can just play a 2-player game with a base set, or you can play a 4-player game with 2 base sets, and you play an 8-player game if you want. You can create a whole skirmish, you can create armies, you can do an all against all, you can do a capture the flag, you can create a scenario, you can do stories, you could do in between stories if you wanted to do. If you want to take Hero Quest out of the dungeon and put it into the Heroescape world, you could! This game is just fantastic! A nightmare to set up and make some really nice landscapes with. But at the same time, you could just set your kids up and say, go on, build something, and I'll play on it later. Fantastic game. It is a shame that it's no longer available for us. And I was very disappointed that the Magic the Gathering thing looks really... It's the same system, but it's not the same oomph, if you know what I mean. It's like saying, okay, we're going to do a Twix, and it's going to be in 1 bar, and it's going to be half the size. And so you're going to have to buy 10 of them to like satisfy your 2-fingered Twix. It's a shame. If you haven't got Heroescape, I'm not going to force you to go out and buy it because it is expensive to buy. I stopped buying years ago the bits that I haven't got because it is too expensive and people were just asking too much money for a figurine and a card. So maybe in a couple of years someone will go, yes, I'm going to buy the rights, or I'm going to imitate it and build plastic tiles like this and do fantastic scenarios and make an expensive game. You know, I'm gonna cry. That was my number 2. Okay. It's been a long little road for you and for me, unless you've been skipping like some people do. Okay, we're finally at my number 1 now. This is the game that I will play over any game ever. Okay, so if you said to me, oh Barry, I've just got the latest real edition of Scythe, this is going to be the game, I'm going to say, no, I don't want to play that, I want to play this. You know, if you come up to me and you say to me, Barry, I have every single Heroescape figurine terrain piece, come around my house and play it. Or we could play this other game here. I would go, yeah, I'm going to play that game there, because that's my number 1 game. That's the game that I would rather play than Heroescape. Guess what it is? No, it's not that. This is the number 1 game that I would like to burn, because now my 8-year-old daughter whips my ass every time! My number 1 game is Viticulture. No surprise there. Yes, it doesn't have a 10 out of 10 rating from me because it doesn't appeal to everyone. Unlike The Island, it appeals to everyone because it's family, it's kids, it's adults. This is strictly adults, and again the theme is limited, so you might not be interested in winemaking or whatever, but this heavy, I'm going to put this game down because it's heavy. Viticulture for me is the pinnacle of board gaming, especially when you have the Tuscany expansion. That just opens up another plethora of things that you can do, another level of different routes that you can go to victory. You could just play the base game hundreds of times, and I have, kind of. But you need to add the expansions to make the game better. And when I say better, it just, you know, it's, you could say like George Lucas made Star Wars better by adding extra special effects. Some people might say, but a lot of people say, yay, new special effects, woo, well done George, pat on the back. Oh, Jar Jar's a cool character, whee, yeah. Why am I bringing up Star Wars with Viticulture? But Viticulture is a game where you're building an empire of winemaking, It feels real because my background is kind of winemaking. It's worker placement, which is an aesthetic that I love in a game. And there are so many choices, and there's the combat, but it's not combat. You know, you're fighting for actions. And then there's the bonuses within those action spaces that you're fighting for as well. And then there's your positions when you time you're going to win. There's so many fantastic ideas in this game. There's so many fantastic components in this game. There are some not so great ones, but it doesn't matter. If you take them out, this game just blows me away every time. And I would happily sit down with a cup of tea, 2 cups of tea, or maybe 5 cups of tea and a bottle of champagne and play this game until the cows come home. Because this game for me is the ultimate board game. This is the ultimate experience for me. It's a, you know, you're working on what you have in front of you. You're negotiating for actions with the other players. And you're also watching what they do as well. And I like those type of games. And this really hits a chord with me. A really good chord. That wasn't a good chord. That was a G minor 7th with a the G string is actually augmented down a semitone. But out of all the games that I have played and own and have played many times, this is my favourite baby. And this will probably continue to be my favourite baby for many years to come, until maybe Conan comes out, or Seventh Continent comes out, or someone buys HeroScape and makes the new version of HeroScape, but takes like characters from Pulp Fiction. So you have like Cylons fighting Daleks, or things like that, you know. I'm going back to my farmer side, probably because the countryside here, the green paysage. The paysage is very beautiful, it's très belle. I like the paysage, c'est très magnifique pour regarder les vignes. I'm getting off on a tangent here. You're probably bored and probably switched off this video by now, so I'm going to wrap up and tuck this into bed and try and convince the wife later tonight, after I've done a podcast, to play this game with me, because it is a great baby and it plays up to 6 players, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful, adorable, super sexy, and I'm gonna crack open a bottle of something tonight, I think, as well. So that is my top 50 board games as it stands of 2015. Maybe I'll do another one of these in a couple of years when I'm old and grey. Well, I'm already grey, but I'm not old yet. Not physically. Or is it mentally? I can't remember. Anywho, I keep going anywho and trying to stop this video, but it keeps going on and on and on and on. This is probably the 12-inch remix. So there you go. What did you think of my list? Did you enjoy my list? Have I bored you pants list? Did you think that was so predictable? My #1 game was going to be that. Did you think, Barry, your board gaming sucks? You don't really know what you're talking about. Well, I kind of do know what I'm talking about, because I took a gynecology course in board gaming design, and that went totally out the backside of a cow. But anywho, thanks for watching. We're coming to the end of the year. I'm probably going to squeeze out another video or 2. Next year I'm looking at doing something brand new, like sunbathing. I might do some live streaming sunbathing. If you're interested, leave a comment in the box below, and maybe I'll hook you up with a personal phone number and an address, and maybe we can get sunbathed together. Anywho, thanks for watching, and I'm not Rodney Smith. Ciao for now. Cheers, my dears. There you go. Thanks, and they just hate that when your nose hairs rattle when you breathe.